there, my name is Megan. I am the creative person behind Little Fish Stitches, and today is August 29th, 2017. It is a Tuesday, which is now apparently my normal recording day, and I just want to say hello and welcome and thank you to all returning viewers. I'm glad you have joined me again, and if this is your first time watching my podcast, thank you for coming to see what it's all about. I hope you enjoy it and aren't scared away by my goofiness, because it happens, trust me. I live in Washington State on the coast in a small town called Aberdeen, and I live here with my husband Brian of 17 years and our two boys, James, who is 13, and Connor, who is 8, and our doggie Bella, who is 3 or 4, something like that. I don't keep track of her age. Yes, okay, looking at my notes here, sorry if I'm looking down. Yes, okay, so I have a little bit of administrative type stuff. Sorry, I need to remember to lean forward because that's where the natural light is. I'm not sitting back here in my chair. If you didn't realize this, I'm in my bedroom again. This is the second time in a row I've been in my bedroom. The boys are out in the living room playing video games. So, I had to go somewhere where they were not. And that wasn't roasting, which if you have been watching my podcast, you know that my upstairs workroom later in the day gets roasting, and it is currently almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, all right, admin. So I am hosting a knit along. Yes, I am. I wasn't sure if I ever would, being not one to participate greatly in those, but I decided I would because lots of people like the campside pullover and the campside shawl and the campside cardigan. So that is what we're doing. I'm doing a campside along. So I'm going to put the hashtag we're using. This started, I think it was about three weeks ago now, and it's 3 or 4 weeks, something like that. And it's running through the end of September. If for some reason we feel like we need to run it a little bit longer, if there are people who need to finish up and want a chance to win some yarn and a project bag from me from my Etsy shop, that might be a possibility. Yes, so campsite along Cal. That's what I'm calling it. I know it's a little redundant, but that's what I want to call it, so I'm doing it. If you are interested in doing that and you haven't started yet, you still have time. The sweater that I am knitting is, I'm getting pretty far on it, and I still have a month left to finish, and I know I'm going to finish, and I could probably do a second one in that time. Not that I'm going to, but I probably could. Oh gosh, you guys, I'm sorry I say so often. I almost sound like I'm meditating. Okay. Stop goofing off, Megan. Yeah. Join the Ravelry group. There's a Little Fish Stitches podcast group on Ravelry. Join the group, find the Cal, and let us know what you're doing. There is a chatter thread right now, but I think I will need to add a finished objects thread probably today, because besides myself, I know at least one other person is getting very close to finished with their sweater. This one person I'm thinking of, she posted today on Instagram, and she's got one sleeve left to do. So yeah, I should post a finished objects thread very soon. And then the other admin type thing is my 100 subscriber giveaway. I have got like 3 new viewers. Woohoo! This or 3 new subscribers since last week's podcast. So thank you, whoever you are. Thank you. And that's another thing you will need to join my Ravelry group for is when I get up to 100 subscribers on YouTube, I will be giving away a prize from my Etsy shop also. And it could be, I mean, if you want to go browse my Etsy shop and look at the things that I have in there, give me some suggestions, because that's where the prize will come from. And I think that is it for announcements. So keep on subscribing and liking, and somebody will get to win a prize from me as a thank you for being there. Okay, into the nitty goodness. I have a finished object. Da-da-da-da! Ta-da! Look at that. Aren't they pretty? These are my Hermione's Everyday Socks. This is my very first pair ever of Hermione's Everyday Socks. And these are knit in the Perfect Stitch Fiber Company is the brand, the dyer. Colorway is Wheezing Wizard. And this is the Glam Base. I don't know if you can tell. Oh, there's a little bit there. There's, it's, what is it? It's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% gold stellina. So I'm trying to see if it will show up in there. It's not showing up very well. But anyway, it's subtle, but I like it. I've never worked with a sparkle base before, so I really liked this. And this came in a kit I got a while back, about a month ago or so. And there was this yarn, there was a stitch marker, and there was a bag, all of which I really enjoyed using. So, and I need to take an actual photo of these and put them in the Harry Potter Yarnaholics Cal that my brain isn't working. Lucky Jenny Knits, Jenny of the Lucky Jenny Knits podcast is hosting, and somebody else. Maybe it's Lacey? My brain is not working right now. But anyway, I need to put these. So I'm very happy with them. I used a size 1 needle as recommended by the pattern. And for the most part, I really like how these fit. I did the pattern exactly as written, because I've never made this pattern before. I know, I'm so late to the party. But anyway, I like them a lot. I like the texture. It's just enough to make it interesting. I finished these in just slightly over a week, which for me is really good. Excuse me, a little bit of a burp there. Yes, so for me that is really good, because socks generally aren't my thing, but after doing these, I'm kind of starting to feel the sock mojo, which I find kind of weird, you guys. I'm not a sock knitter, so you might see more socks on here. I have been resisting the temptation to cast on another pair of socks, simply because I have so many other projects on the needles right now that I want to get some off before I put more on. And when I do put more on, I have my Christmas stockings that need to be done. So, 3 of them. So anyway, that's my FO. And then it's time for works in progress. So we'll start with my sock head hat. I'm almost to the point, I think, where I should probably start decreasing. I don't want it super slouchy, and it's getting pretty long here. These are on this, I'm knitting this on size 2 needles, and the colorway I'm using is the Lemonade Shop Toxic Oreo, and I'm really liking it. I'm going to insert a picture here, I think, of myself. I was walking and knitting at my son's soccer jamboree on Saturday working on this, and I decided to pop it on my head and take a picture. you know, needles and all. I looked pretty goofy, but I will show you that. I'm thinking, yeah, in the near future, I need to start decreasing. So that is living in my Mrs. Brown's bag, where it's been its entire existence. Oh, excuse me here. I have in my Create journal, this is my knitting journal, and in here, where is it? Da-da-da. I have a page for my Hermione's Everyday Socks, which I made a few notes on those. Super fast and easy, followed pattern exactly. May need to modify leg to have more stitches. Foot is fine. Use stretchy cast on next time. That's one of the things that I had an issue with. And then I put one in for my sock head hat. I don't have a yarn sample yet because I can't cut the skein yet. So, sock head hat. Yes. So I'm making progress. It's about time to start winding that thing down, actually. Next is what has been an archived whip, I guess you could call it. This is my starting point wrap. It was the mystery knit along that Joji Locatelli was hosting, I think in the spring. I can't remember exactly, but I decided to pull it out of hibernation and continue working on it. I haven't made a whole lot of progress, but I have made some. So I'm currently working still 2 separate pieces, and I have lots of ends to weave in. I had finished where this dark pink is. I had gotten to the end of that segment, and then I did this little bit of a lace section on this one and on this one, and now I'm starting another section that I think is going to be about as wide as this section. So the colors that I am using in this, excuse me, I feel like I'm sinking back into my chair a little too much. So, if my nose is itchy, I'm sorry guys. Okay, so my colors. This first pale pink color is one of my colorways. It's Strawberry Freckles. And then this pale soft gray color is Pearl by Malabrigo Sock. And then this minty green speckly color is another of my colorways. It's Happy Go Lucky. And then this dark gray charcoal colored, I'll show you guys the back of it. Good grief. The charcoal gray is Cascade Heritage Sock. And then again, my colorway. And then this is color 4. This is 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's color 5. Color 5 is another Malabrigo sock, and this one is called Light of Love. So that's my colors. I made a little bit of progress on these. Sorry about the tinkling you can hear. I have my, where'd it go? I can't even find my own needles. Goodness. It's because I was in the middle of a row. I put my needle holder doohickey on here. So, and I am knitting this using size 6 ChiaoGoo interchangeable, which is a 4mm in not US sizes. So I am making a little progress on this again, and I'm feeling like I do want to finish it. I keep seeing pictures here and there on Instagram of people's finished starting point wraps, and they're so beautiful. And so I think I am going to finish. I think I was so focused on getting my cardigan, my Earnest cardigan by Joji Locatelli also done, that I decided I needed to set the wrap aside and finish the cardigan. So, and then it got ignored for a while for other projects. So I decided to move that project into my new vintage linen bag by Bags She Built, Tracy of Bags She Built. And I love it. And it's the perfect size for this project because I have the 5 skeins of yarn in here. So next is my campsite pullover. Woo-hoo-hoo. And this is living in my Like a Boss bag from that Crafty Little Fox. Yes, I said it right. I always feel like I'm going to say that name wrong. And I am knitting this on size, well, this is not size 8. This is size 5. Because I'm working on the ribbing on the waistband. This is, most of the body is worked in size 8 ChiaoGoo interchangeables because that's what I got gauge with, which is the recommended size, which I was pleased about that. I didn't have to fiddle around too much. So I've tried this on a couple times, and it's fitting pretty well. I know it's going to block out a little bit looser, which is perfect. So I just started the ribbing last night. You can't even hardly see it. It's like I'm a row and a half in. So let's try. So this is the bottom edge, of course. So here it is. Let me see. Maybe trying to get it organized here without being... Okay. Lean me back. See how much of this I got done? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna flop it over my shoulder here. You can barely see it, but there's my little stitch marker. This is where I picked up. I was, because of the shoulder thing that I had going on for a couple of weeks, I chose not to work on this because it was getting a little weightier, and I just didn't want to put too much strain on my shoulder. So that's why those socks got done. But that stitch marker right there, that's where I picked up on Thursday last week. And I've done all of that since Thursday. And I have another stitch marker on here to show where I switched to the next lace section. And that's my Simply Serving Hand Knits. I don't know if you can see that. Or Simply Serving Handcrafts Harry Potter stitch marker that came with the kit that I mentioned earlier. So, yeah. I feel like I'm making progress. I'm kind of hoping if I work hard enough on this, I may have it done by the end of next week. Maybe before the next podcast. I don't know. But anyway, this colorway that I'm using is one of my own. I love dyeing my own yarn. It's so fun. And I'm calling it Shark Week. So. Ta-da, Shark Week. Oh, let's see here. Can we focus? Yeah, you can kind of see what that stitch marker looks like. Oops, bumping the tripod. Sorry, guys. And that is all the works in progress that I have worked on this week. I do think I need to get back to working on my son Connor's blanket because he's been pestering me for it, and I'm like, dude, that is the blanket that caused my shoulder injury. I need to take a little break from it. So that is all. That is all my works in progress. I guess it's time for acquisitions. Now, can you see behind me? That's where I put my acquisitions this time. So I will pull them down gently because I don't want to knock my yarn bowl down. I love my yarn bowl, you guys. Angie did such a good job on it. And it makes, especially knitting in bed easier. I don't have a ball of yarn rolling all over the bed and driving me nuts trying to chase it down on the bed. I do a lot of bed knitting. It almost sounds like bedwetting. I do bed knitting, not bedwetting. I'm sorry, you guys. I am such a dork. Okay, take a breather. Calm yourself. Okay, so after my goofiness here, the first people I ever bought indie dyed yarn from was Dye for Knitting, and he put out a colorway that just it caught my eye, and I had to get it. And this might be my next pair of socks. this is 21st Century, and it's a very pale gray, and there are lots of rainbow neon colored speckles just randomly through there. So, dye for knitting. This is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon, 463 yards. There's his info back there. So, and he's dye for knitting on Instagram as well. But yes, I am excited to cake this up and cast on a pair of socks. Sorry, I keep bumping the tripod. I have it kind of in a weird position that I'm not used to, so. And then back at the end of July, I think it was, I had ordered a kit from Nano Stitch Lab, mostly because that crafty little fox was providing the bag for the kit. And it was the Science is Real kit. And the bag is so fun. I love all these rocks that are on here. You know, it's got green agate, labradorite, black onyx, ruby, aquamarine, pyrite, smoky quartz. I mean, I'm reading the ones on the back. Obviously, you can see different ones a little bit on the front here. So besides the awesome bag, there was this little pin, this little pink gem pin included with the kit. And I can't remember who the pin is by. I lost the card. But then, of course, there had to be some yarn with this. So this is from Nano Stitch Lab. And this is called Clastic Rock. And this is a single. I've never worked with a single before, at least as far as sock weight yarn goes. I really like the colors. This is very pretty. I'm a little leery, though, of using this for socks. What do you guys think? If you think singles are okay for socks, let me know, because I might. Like I said, I think I've been bitten by the sock bug. So, this is... Oh, there's no nylon in this. It's 100% superwash merino. I don't think I want to use this for socks. This may need to go into something else. Very pretty, though. I'll have to find a shawl or a sweater, something. So I'm thinking about making another sweater after I finish my campsite pullover, but a fingering weight one, because I really like my cardigan, my Ernest cardigan, being fingering weight. But I'm thinking about fading it, whatever it is, I don't know yet. And, I mean, because I have a bunch of fun, awesome sock yarn that I don't necessarily want to make into socks. So, yeah, might need to work that one into a fade sweater. Not the so faded sweater, not necessarily. I'm thinking more of a cardigan, probably. I like cardigans a lot. So yeah, that's all my acquisitions. No, that's not all my acquisitions. I bought the Mint Lotus sweater pattern from Annie Lupton, Boho Chic Fiber Company. She released it, I think it was on Saturday, and it's 20% off, I think, until the end of the month, which is only another couple of days. But yeah, so I got it for like $5 and change instead of $7 and change. So whatever. Yeah. I would show the pattern, but I forgot to bring in my printout back here, and I'm not going to go get it. So that is it for my acquisitions. Doo-doo. Toss on my bed. Okay, moving on to Podstars. I kind of got stuck on watching Hey Sister, which I talked about last week, until I completed that, which I think Friday I completed that. Yeah. I super late on Friday night, I finished watching all the current episodes of Hey Sister. And then, So I decided I needed to catch up on another one of my podcasts that I know I have mentioned before, but I do have a new one, new to me, to mention as well. But this first one is So Perfect Pearls. Jade is in Atlanta area in Georgia, and I just feel like I kind of have a lot in common with her. We both have boys that are literally nearly the same age. I think her son is 1 day older than my son, and or my younger son. So we have little 8-year-old third graders. Yeah. And so I finished watching all her episodes yesterday. So I'm caught up to date. No, I lied. I finished watching those this morning. Yeah, while I was working this morning. Got up at 6 as I usually do. Was upstairs for 3 hours this morning working, so got a lot of podcast watching in this morning. And then the next one that I started in on today, and I did what I don't normally do. I started at the most recent episode, but I kind of wanted to get a feel for the podcast before I decided for sure if I was going to keep watching it. And that podcast was Jilly of the Knitting Broomstick podcast. And yeah, I like her so far. She's in Oregon somewhere, I think. Probably only a couple hours for me, really. Because I think it takes a whole 2.5 hours for me to get to Portland. And from the sounds of it, I think she's somewhere near the Portland area. Which is a pretty large area. So, who knows? But anyway, I think I watched 2 episodes of hers this morning, and I really enjoyed them. She's just down to earth, loves to sew, loves to knit socks, which I'm starting to love, and I kind of can't quite understand why, but I get it at the same time, and anyway. I enjoyed watching a couple of hers this morning, so I will continue to watch her and possibly report back if I really like her more or something. I don't know. So that's it for Podstars. There's a kiddo lurking in the hallway.
Can I have a snack?
Yes, you can have a snack. That's snack 1 of 2. Moving on to life stuff. And that's snack 1 of 2. My 8-year-old is a bit underweight as far as, he's not off the low end of the scale, percentage-wise, but he's at the very bottom. He's a tiny little guy. So, we have, up until, this week, literally, allowed him to eat anytime he asked, because little dude needs to eat, needs to grow. But my husband and I talked it over, and we decided he can have a limited amount of snacks so that he'll eat more at mealtime. So, yeah. So that's why I said that's 1 of 2. Now, on to real life stuff. That is real life stuff, I guess, but not necessarily something I had listed in my notes to talk about. So, yesterday was my last day doing my office job. I liked that job because I got so much knitting time in, but at the same time, I always felt like there was something I should be doing, and I couldn't do it because I was at the office and not at home. So, about a month ago, gave notice, as I think I've mentioned before, and I will hand off my keys to the next employee, who is also my neighbor, in the next couple of days, and it reminds me I need to text her and tell her to come over and get the keys or something. So that was fun, considering it was 100 degrees out and I was roasting to death. It was hot yesterday. Really super crazy hot. And sadly, my office was not very well air conditioned. So, it was pretty warm yesterday at work. But, don't have to worry about that anymore. I'm at home in my air-conditioned house with a ceiling fan running right up there. Yeah. This past week was not terribly exciting, which is nice considering if you watched last week's episode. It was not exciting, and that's a good thing. Tomorrow is back to school. My boys go back to school. They will be in 3rd and 8th grade. Oh my gosh. Somebody put bricks on their heads. Tell them to stop growing. So today, we went out and did a little school shopping, which basically consisted of getting them shoes. Because the school district we're in, they are providing every school supply except shoes, backpacks, and headphones. We don't have to buy paper, we don't have to buy pencils, we don't have to buy erasers, we don't have to buy Kleenex, we don't have to buy anything. Some sort of grant supplied everything. Even, and this is something that we've never done before. I have always put my packed lunch for my boys. There's a grant covering breakfast and lunch for every student in the school district, no matter their income. We've always been above that level of getting the free or reduced lunches. So this year, especially my older son, he's like, oh, free food? Yes. And not having to carry another thing to school? Yes. And I'm like, yes, I don't have to pack a lunch. So he's happy, I'm happy. That works out. We are going to do a little bit more school shopping, but we are waiting specifically because my boys are members of the Quinault tribe. I don't know how many of you know a lot about tribal financial things, but there are some tribes that are, like, they hand out a monthly stipend to every member. Quinault is not one of those. But last year and this year, they have, at the beginning of the school year, handed out money for students who are enrolled in schools in the area near where the tribal lands are. If they happen to be a member of Quinault Nation and not in Grays Harbor County, I think they were out of luck. But since we live here in Grays Harbor County and the Quinault Nation is part of Grays Harbor County, we get money for so. That I will pick up day after tomorrow. So we'll do some shopping over Labor Day weekend. Hit some sales, yeah. Woo! So, when we were shopping for shoes today, my teenager, he's like, oh, I like this one. Oh, wait, it's $50. I'm like, I gave him a limit of like $30-ish for a pair of shoes. And I'm like, okay, if you really want a pair of those other shoes, we'll come back once we have your school money and you can buy an expensive pair of shoes. He's kind of getting to that point, I guess, where he wants the cool clothes. I was wondering if it ever would hit. He's never cared about clothes at all, so that's kind of funny. And then, this past Friday, I spent almost the entire day cutting fabric. So this makes 2 Fridays in a row, because the Friday before, the Friday that my dad had his crazy accident, I also spent cutting fabric. I have all my fabric cut out now, and I have started the sewing process. I'm kind of doing, what do you call that? Assembly line sewing, which I do a lot for work, but this is for my project bags that I will be doing my trunk show at the Black Sheep Yarn Boutique. So yeah, I feel good. I'm making progress on that. I was like, I'm like, the deadline is creeping up. I need to get on that. So I have. I mean, I like to sew, but sometimes when the project is so big, it's like, I don't want to sew. And so then I put it off and I put it off, trying not to do that this time. So, yes, I got my fabric prepped into stacks in order by bag, and each piece, there's 8 pieces. 8 pieces per bag. So, getting that many pieces of fabric cut out is quite the chore. It took literally, I know I did one big cut day a couple months ago. It took, I would say, probably 48 hours worth of work cutting all the fabric out that I have cut out. So I'm thinking, I haven't counted exactly how many bags I have prepped. I know I have way more prepped than I need for the trunk show, but I also will be listing these in my Etsy shop once the trunk show is over. Yeah. So things are happening. I will have lots and lots of bags listed early October in my Etsy shop. I'm gonna, what I want to do, sorry, I keep jingling my necklace here. What I want to do is I want to get them finished and photographed before the trunk show. I want to prep the listings, and then as soon as the trunk show is over, then I will just make live the ones that are not sold out. So, but it's a 3-day trunk show, and it's in Olympia, and it's part of Yarn Crawl, so there's going to be a lot of traffic coming through, which is great. I'm like, I have so much stuff to do to get ready. I have to get a sign printed, and some new business cards, and there's some other things I need to do. I'm like, oh, I need to order more binding for sewing with. I'm like, I'm like, okay, did I bite off more than I could chew? Not quite, but almost. So, yeah. And I think that about wraps it up. I am going to include on the end of this video a clip, a couple minutes long, of my dad telling his version of what happened to him a little over a week ago. This does take place at my church, and my dad is a person of faith, as well as I am. So if that's something that you don't feel like watching, feel free to take off. You don't have to watch it. Have a good day, knit lots, and I will see you in a week. Otherwise, yeah, stick around, hear what my dad had to say about how things went for him and the accident that he had. And yes, I will, again, I will see you all in a week. Happy knitting, and I hope that you get lots done. And don't forget to join in on the Campside Cal and like and subscribe to my channel if you want to be part of my 100 subscriber giveaway when we get to that point. So, yeah. Alrighty, I'm out of here. I gotta go edit this now. Lucky me. Okay.
And he's got it right now here for you. So let's listen and let's give the Lord all the praise. Here we go, Dave.
I'm nervous, yes. I'm going to read this because otherwise it might be a little incoherent. Lose track of myself. I don't normally like to be up here, but I feel compelled to share how our God worked in my life. He did over a week ago. Many of you know a little of the story and some a lot, but I think it will be an encouragement to all of us if I fill in some of the blanks. To me, this was as significant as when I got shot out of the sky in Vietnam 2 days before Christmas in 1969. Another time of how close I came to death without getting there. In that incident, at least 3 things could have taken me out. A bullet hit the helicopter within 1 foot of my head, the impact on hitting the ground, and I was drenched in jet fuel that did not ignite. For those that don't know, I was cut very badly by a skill saw on the underside of my upper left arm. As a former construction worker, I did contribute to this happening by making a mistake I should not have made. But also, there was a malfunction of the blade guard that I had no way of knowing about. But my testimony is of the result, not of the cause. In the first instant after it happened, I didn't even know that I was hurt. But then I looked down at my arm and I saw a gaping hole with what looked like a completely severed blood vessel, or whatever you call them, at the bottom, and blood spurting out from underneath my shoulder, from where I couldn't see what it was coming from. And I have a picture my son took on my phone right here. It shows a pattern of the blood that was sprayed around on the roof, so I know it was spraying with every beat of my heart. And the roof was on my sister's house in Beaverton, Oregon, and my nephew Matt was working with me. I hollered that I had a serious accident and needed help now. And here is the start of the miracles. Matt is known for fainting at the thought of seeing blood. Doesn't have to actually see it, just the thought that he might, and he faints. But on this occasion, he helps me up and off the roof. Once on the ground, he helps me to the garage and has the presence of mind to remember pressure points to slow blood flow and position me for easy access for the EMTs. He kept a cool head and never even wavered through all of this. I knew I was in a serious way because even holding direct pressure on the wound, blood was squirting out between my fingers. Through all of this, I'm wondering, is this how it ends? And I am at peace with it. Devin Backholm has spoken recently of living ready. And I claimed that for myself at that time. I'm ready. I shared that idea with a couple others since I received it. Live ready. God gave us all a will to live, and I was going to do all I could to live. Not just for me, but for my wife and family. But if this was it for me, I was okay with that. Because for me, and at least for most of you, there is, as it says in Jeremiah 29:11, a future and a hope. The second miracle is that the bleeding quit by the time the EMTs were set for Matt and I to release the pressure and let them take over. It only took about 5 minutes to get there. That was just, from the time I was cut till they were on site, was only about 5 minutes. That big city. Good. Anyway, by the time Matt and I released, let's see, when I got to the hospital and they examined and operated on me, they said there had been no arterial damage. What? What had I been looking at in my arm? I cut up deer and know what the veins look like, and this is what I saw. Plus, I couldn't stop the flow of blood by myself. It was flowing in spurts like water out of a hose without a nozzle. So far as I'm concerned, Jesus healed that vessel or what artery or whatever it was. He healed it. Through all of what was going on, I'm not asking God to spare my life, which I find weird now. But my sister was. But she was going a bit overboard, and she's listening to this right now, I found out. But she was going a bit overboard and upset and was using swear words somewhat. I finally had enough of that and told her there was nothing that had happened that warranted that language, and please stop. And she was also crying and shaking uncontrollably, so I told her, whatever happened, I live ready. I'm ready to meet Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. So what do you say to those who might disagree about God being with me? I was still seriously hurt, whether I was bleeding like that or not. Well, maybe it isn't all about me. It certainly increased my faith. I'm up here in front of you, aren't I? You don't see me up here normally. But what about those who saw or heard it? What about the hero of this incident, my nephew Matt? Even though being raised in the church, he has not been interested in knowing Jesus. I won't go into detail here, but I'm praying this will be a turning point in his life. And I hope sharing this will increase your faith as well. Thank you for hearing me out.